Greetings YouTube and welcome to a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for post-Rage of the Abyss, technically speaking, as this deck has two cards that were printed in the set. Uh, Not, of course, the big card printed in the set because I don't have $600 on hand just yet for Furos, but regardless, I went to my sneak yesterday and I was able to get my hands on a very important ultra rare that was in the set for the deck that I played, which is Bystial control. So this is just my take on the deck. This is a somewhat unknown deck at this point, as it's been around for the better part of the last year, and the concept has been floating around for a good bit, and it's picked up steam as of late, especially since the one guy managed to win the Houston regionals with the deck, and it's seeing some play ever since. Like, imagine the concept of basically a deck that's just playing a heavy Bystial count hand traps and just using Branded Regain to draw into the hand traps and just spitting Bystials out. Like, it's a dragon control deck that has some aggro options. It's basically the Disaster Dragon to Dragon Link being the combo dragon deck from Edison format. Like, yeah, Dragon Link is basically Dragon Turbo, but of course nowhere near as bricky. And then you have this being Trap Dragons, except you're not actually playing traps because it's 2024. And who the hell plays traps outside of Labyrinth and such? But yeah, I like the concept of this deck, and I've played it on and off for the last bit, and Rage of the Abyss allows you to get a little bit more out of the deck thanks to a nice addition to the core engine, and we'll go over that in the deck. So yeah, don't be surprised that this isn't a particularly spicy list, as you are playing like a heavy Bystial count and hand traps, so like it's gonna be stuff you've seen before. So for the engine, you got 3 copies of Lubellion. You obviously want to see this as often as you can. It gets you to the Bystials you need for the situation. Magnemite as a starter, Druid Swarm to blow stuff up, or Baldric to out certain things. And you've got his targets, Regained and Beast. I want to play a second Regain. I just don't want to make the deck too bloated. This is already above 40 cards because there's certain cards you do not want to see in your opener, such as this. But we have some Runic and Stun decks at my local, so I am not going without Branded Beastness just because I have the potential just to blow up shit. So yeah, Beast is going to be in here for the foreseeable future, but if I were to go to a regionals, I could see myself petting Beast for 2 Regain and siding the Beast. Then for the actual hand trap Bystials, 3 copies of Druid Swarm and 3 copies of Saronir, as they are the best ones to see at just about any time. 1 copy of Magnemite because it's limited. 1 copy of Baldric. I cut a copy of this out to make room for the 2 new cards of the deck, otherwise I was on 2 of this thing. Baldric is good still. No. And lastly, 1 copy of the Bystial Luber. He is just a vanilla, but he is a tuner vanilla that you can search off of Lubellion. So yep, there you go. And sometimes you need Lubellion to search a level 4 Lord Dragon in order to get started on your link climbing to spheres. So that's the Bystial engine. I don't think Konami's going to hit any more of these cards at this point. Lubellion, if they were going to do anything to it, they would have done it last year. And not much to really say. Yeah, I don't know if Hut will ever go above 1. Maybe in a couple years, just because being able to search any dragon is still very powerful. Who knows? It could also depend if we go into a very light, dark, heavy format, then these guys will obviously become good again. They just haven't been as powerful as they used to be because we've been under the year of fire for the last freaking year. But yeah, they're always going to be around though. Moving on to supplementing engines, so we're playing the Chaos engine, so 3 Safer, 1 of each of the White and Black Dragon, Chaos Emperor Dragon, and Chaos Space. I would genuinely like to see this card get bumped up to at least even 2, but Konami, of course, is scared of giving Dragon Link more power, and fair point, as that's been like the TCG, the West's like baby deck. Like, Japan created the concept of Dragon Link, but we've been the one that's been really innovating on it, and seeing as it took down Worlds and such, yeah, there's a very good chance like they're not going to do anything with this anytime soon. That being said, though, if they ever decide to revisit the Chaos Dragon structure deck, I could see them also bumping this up to promote that structure deck. So, you never know with Konami. They are more than willing to make decisions that make the money in favor of balance, as we all know. And then last supplementary engine is the Black Metal Dragon engine. So 3 copies of Black Metal Dragon. If you don't remember what this guy does, and it's sent to the graveyard from the field, you search a red ice card, and it's a not a once per turn. So yeah, it's a 1 card spheres, and actually a little more now. So your first main search target is Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, and then your new search target alongside him is Red Eyes Black Fullmetal Dragon. So this is a new card from the set, and his effect is, while in the hand, you can set a Metamorph trap card from your deck to the field, and then he shuffles himself back in. He cannot be normal summoned or set, and must be special summoned by the effect of a Metamorph card. So he sets this card Max Metamorph. The way he works is you have to special summon him off of a Metamorph card that tributes a level 5 or higher dragon monster. And so what this card does, so Max Metamorph allows you to tribute a monster face a monster, and you special summon a monster that cannot be normal summoned or set, and mentions Max Metamorph from your hand, deck, or graveyard, and equip it to that monster. The equipped monster gains 400 attack and defense. It cannot be destroyed in battle by spell or monster effects, and your opponent cannot target it with monster effects or spell card effects. So yeah, it summons this guy out of the deck. It makes him bigger. He can't be targeted by monsters or spells, which is pretty relevant given that SP runs wrong. And a Fullmetal zone effect, alongside being able to set this, is once per turn when your opponent activates a card effect. Isn't it a card effect? Yeah, when you activates a card or effect, as a quick effect, he can negate that effect, then burn your opponent for damage equal to 1 attack monster they have on the board. So it's an Omni negate that's also burn, and it makes up for the banning of Borland Savage Dragon, and therefore Dragon Link and Bystial Control, or any deck that's playing this package, now has access to an Omni negate that can also burn on the side, and provide you get this card off, and is also like hard to out. That being said, this can be ashed, and that is just a thing to note. So the main way you're going to be summoning this guy is you're going to be tributing off Bystials that you have on board or have summoned off of spheres, and then you just get access to this thing. So it's a nice little addition to the deck that allows it to do just a little bit more. But going first, if you open Black Metal Dragon, you now have access to spheres and an Omni negate. Then rounding it out, 2 copies of Dark and Evaporation Dragon. You can special it from your hand by banishing a dragon monster from your extra deck, but if you do, you are locked to dragon summons for the turn. And then as of once per turn, you can use 1 of 2 effects. You can either have him lose 500 attack defense and then pop an attack position monster opponent controls, just like OG Darkend, or he's a poly. And you've got some good dragons to summon off of this with this guy. You can, in a pinch, make Branded Fusions, or you can make Furious Dragon or another boss monster. And speaking of Branded Fusions, Fallen of Albaz as one of your Spheres targets. If you're not summoning Magnemut or something else, you can summon this guy, suck up a monster opponent controls, and climb into Mirror Jade, which is another form of interruption. So that is the engine itself. Moving on to the non-engine. The non-engine for this deck is a little bit not as flexible as you'd like, just because you want to see light and dark hand traps in order to banish for Bystial. So Ash is the only non-light dark hand trap I'm playing in here, just because it's Ash. It's good against a lot of things. Otherwise, I'm playing Veilers, and I'm playing Ogre, even though Ogre is not the greatest in this format, at least not at the moment. That could change. It's still a hand trap that can do something, and you can banish it for Bystials and send it off for Chaos Space, which has happened. So likewise with Nibiru, I've had to discard it for Chaos Space to get play started, and then Timber. So, yeah, Ash is like the only one that you would even consider cutting, or maybe Ogre if you need to play Droll or something like that. Then for the extra deck, 2 copies of your main boss monster, Spheres. It's 2024 and Spheres Pass is still just as good as ever. Tyramid strongest? No, Spheres strongest. And then your supplementary link ones for dragons. And yes, once the Blue Eyes structure deck comes out, I'm slotting that guy in as well, just so I have another Dragon Link one I can make, and this time with an arrow that points down. Then Dark Charmer, just because you're playing a dark deck, so yeah, you're gonna be able to make this easy. And IP and SP for the Link monsters. I ended up cutting access code to make room for a card that I have yet to summon, so technically speaking it should be in here, but the card I'm playing instead though is super cool looking. Then for Ixies, I'm playing the 1 to 2. I'm going to slot in a Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger, just because we have a person who's building Shark for locals, and he's going to be doing that annoying ass crooked cook block. So I want to have Thunder Charger in order to pierce, and if I'm going to put Thunder Charger in, then I'm going to put Zeus in as well. And for Synchros, Chaos Angel, that's one of your better boss monsters, and Bystial Luber, you can make it with. You make this guy with a Luber, whereas this guy you can at least make with a Bystial and any of the mini light dark dragons. And that's it for those. And then rounding up the fusions, you got the branded package, Albion, Rebellion, and Mirror Jade. Yep, not much to say here. Mirror Jade's just still a strong card. You got Borlo Furious Dragon. You can make this with Darkened and any Bystial, and it's just good removal. And then the last fusion monster is Light and Darkness Dragon Lord, who came out in the last set and is a card that Branded could play at some point. Most likely a gimmick if they actually kill Sanctifier Dragons so that you can't do all the bullshit that he enables. So he is a fusion of a level 8 Light Dragon and a level 8 Darker Dragon, and it's live. So once per turn when a card or effect is activated, he automatically responds to it and tries to negate it by reducing his attack and defense by 1,000. And unlike OG Lad, you only get 3 negates with this guy, but he's bigger, and when he gets killed, you summon a dragon from your graveyard. So he doesn't nuke the board, and it's a Light and Darkness Dragon that's easier to summon. So you got to be careful with him though, just because like OG Lad, he will attempt to respond to any activation. So if you're using a hand trap like Ogre, then he can chain block you, but you can also likewise use him to chain block your shit even when he can't negate. So you can like have him at 800 and at 400 and 0, and if you know your opponent has like an Ash Blossom and you have a guy with a non-summon search effect, you can summon your dude, chain it, uses effective search, and then Lad immediately responds to it, and therefore you block the Ash. And yeah, so just that. And then I even have a side because this is my local side. So for noteworthy Spheres targets, I've got Quack Mew Drago because we have Ubel decks here, and he's obviously very good against that. I also played against the Raid Raptor deck and hard drew the Drago, summoned it, and then it got Dark Blue. But yeah, Drago's just good there for mainly the Ubel matchup because it's difficult as hell coming out of this guy. I got Heliosphere Dragon because we do have 2 to 3 Tempai decks, and this is a guy you board against him. Although then you got Phantasme, it's a dragon, it can draw you into more hand traps, and it just provides you a body to help you start your stuff. And 3 copies of Corellia, and if I could, I would be playing Foros, but it's going to be a while before I even attempt to get a place out of that card. I will definitely try to get at least one, so I have it as a cross-out target for Mermail. But yeah, I do have these though. I picked them up when they were cheaper, and we have decks that play into it, so I'm going to side it in against those decks. And Breakers, 3 copies of Dark Ruler, 2 Cosmics, and a Duster. And then the auto wing cards going first, Anti-Spell and Skill Drain. I should probably throw in a Rivalry of Warlord, but I don't know if we have enough decks to actually lose to it here. Because like you've got Ubel Fiendsmith, we got Raid Raptors, Dragons. There's some decks that Rivalry is good against though, I will admit. So I'll come back to it. It depends if I want to like keep Heliosphere Dragon or something else on my side, but I feel like these 2 cards are just fantastic going first and just about everything. This obviously to protect you against back row blowouts, and then like you summon big monsters. So Skill Drain is obviously a deck that you can take advantage of. And that's it for the deck itself. All in all, it was fun to play. And when Darken Evaporating, when Darken himself specifically comes to Master Duel, I think this deck will become a much more appealing to play. Admittedly, Sarnier is limited still, but that may change, we'll see. Or maybe they'll hit the Rebellion and Master Duel just because Branded is still very popular. But I like the concept of how this plays, and I like the fact that they actually made like Metamorph a deck, and they actually printed a good Red Eyes boss monster. And because this guy exists now, I kind of want to try like building Cashier Red Eyes, like just a heavy Cashier engine, an amount of Red Eyes, and like turbo all just sevens, and use Red Eyes Fang with Chain and this guy. I don't know if it'll be a very good deck, but it'll be at least sweet to play. And then I get an excuse to play my Ghost Bear Red Eyes Black Dragon. So, yeah, that's the deck in a nutshell. If you're playing Bystial Control, chime in on what you're doing, what your ratios are. I would like to take Ball Drake up. I just don't know what I would cut, or if I just want to go over. Like, I think this deck counts at 45, because I didn't want to go to 48 or 50. I think that's a bit too much, especially since this deck isn't playing pot cards. And I think that's a bit of a detriment, because you still want to, like, see cards. So, that being said, though, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, this is BlueStar899, jacking out.